using YouTube as its main platform. And as of this recording, they're at 240,000 subscribers and counting. And hey, maybe you can attribute a lot of the work of the man himself, Adam Taxin, to RSBN's success. Adam, how you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Benjamin, thank you for having me on. And first of all, isn't it more like 243,000? Because if it's 240,000, we're counting the wrong way, I would guess.
I rounded down, so I guess I'm doing you guys a disservice.
Well, that's a conservative thing to do. You know, Democrats like to inflate numbers and projections. You go on the conservative side. Okay, I can respect that, but I think it's more like 243. And just I hope so. We didn't. That would be bad if we lost 3,000 subscribers in just a couple of days. And thank you for having me on. And I want to just apologize to your audience. I do happen to be driving right now and it's through an increasingly bad winter storm in southern Illinois. I'm trying to get to Missouri as soon as possible because there is basically a maelstrom of freezing rain that's supposed to come in. I wanted nothing to do with it. So I woke up before 4 a.m. in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and got on the road. So that's when we're doing this. So, obviously you can edit it a little bit later. And if the sound quality goes down, I understand if you hang up on me, we'll pick it up. But, and it's fairly rural, so the signal may be weak at a few places. I doubt it because Illinois is very flat, as you know. So there you go. Thanks for having me on. I'm yours for a while. So I start to bore you.
Well, I appreciate it. Where are you headed? Why don't you share, if you can, with the people about this road trip you're on right now?
It's not the most exciting road trip. Let's be honest. Road trips out west in the summer have better scenery, not to disrespect the great state of Illinois, which, voted for Hillary anyway. But it's not
they deserve not much respect.
To in winter. At least there's not snow on the ground. I can put it that way. And it's not icy on the roads just yet. So I'm headed to the St. Louis area to go to a bar mitzvah of a friend of mine from college. Bar mitzvah of the son of a friend of mine from college. Yeah, I'm not that young anymore.
Do you keep the feasts?
Do I keep the what?
The feasts.
Yeah, didn't you look at me? When you saw me in Jacksonville when we met, it looked like I did a little too much feasting, don't you think?
I didn't really remember.
I'm on a diet, though. I'm a diet. But if you're asking if I'm an observant Jew, the Sabbath, yes, I am. We don't really call it the feast. I mean, we have festival days in which a big meal, which we call a Suda, is a big part of the holiday. That's a lot of holidays. Not all of them. For example, Hanukkah just passed, and that is a rabbinical holiday. You're not going to find references to Hanukkah, obviously, in the 5 books of Moses, because that cuts off after the Jews, spend the 40 years in the desert, and Hanukkah occurred in Greek times. But there is no feast associated with Hanukkah, for example, because we do other things to make it the festivities. But I usually feast. If there's a lot of good food, I have not always been able to control myself that well with eating through the years. It's funny, I've been in Wing Bowl in Philadelphia twice. That's how good I am at gluttony. I guess you could say I'm mostly a vegan now, so I've curbed that. It's not a good character trait, but I like to eat, and it's just I was with my parents for a week or so in Florida. Problem is, they are both my biological parents, and they're both thinner than I am. So what do you say if your parents tell you you're fat, because if they're really your parents and you have the same genes as them, how do you win that argument? Does that answer your question?
It definitely does. And by the way, We the Vigilant contributor Alicia Fox is a vegan and has been for years. So if you need any advice at all about that, don't hesitate to ask. Send us an email.
Oh, I might. I'm not a vegan, though. I do eat meat, but I do have the view that, and this has evolved over time, the Torah says it's a good thing to eat meat every once in a while. I think there are some things, especially iron and carnitine, that you just can't substitute that adequately for. I take an iron supplement. I don't know if there's much reason to be having dairy in general. I enjoy those foods tremendously. But it's sort of a thing with me. If I'm at someone else's house and they're serving meat for dinner, I'm going to enjoy it. I can't say no to things. Or if I'm at a restaurant where it's going to be very good. But I don't like to just use meat as a staple. For example, having a processed turkey sandwich for lunch. Why do you need to do that? It's not special. You're treating turkey the way Brazilians treat rice and beans, and an animal died for that, and probably was treated rather poorly when that occurred. So you do that, but I love a good steak. Don't get me wrong, and I love all this stuff, but if I'm not going to totally love the food, or there are certain supplements I can't get somewhere else, like in organ meat, such as beef or chicken liver, which just has something, gives you a pep that no other food can, I try to just keep a pretty vegan diet during the week. Save the meat and the dairy for special occasions. But
All
Alicia,
right.
let's talk. What's up, Alicia? I met her in Jacksonville, too.
That's right. You interviewed her, and she went off about NAFTA. Folks, you need to check out Leviticus 23 if you want to get a little bit more information on the feasts. I think it's an interesting topic. But anyway, Adam is...
Wait, you told me, wait, I'm driving. I can't Google that right now. Tell me what exactly it says there. I mean, I know Leviticus fairly well, but I just don't remember that particular line.
Well, it lays out I think it's the 6 or 8 feasts, Passover and the unleavened bread, first fruits, things like that. And it talks, it sort of just outlines the significance of each and every one of them. And it's interesting because I think both Christians and Jews can read that and get something out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, not to correct you or anything, usually you call it a festive meal. I think that's the more appropriate translation. And festive meal means you wash your hands and you have bread or matzah, as the case may be. And, you only wash your hands if you're having bread. And generally you have wine and some sort of meat with it. But we don't usually call it feast. It just is not the term that Jews use. And maybe in the Christian translation, but it's just not a term that Jews typically use to describe the festive meal. All right, so we're going on an interesting direction here. I think feast also implies a little bit of gluttony, food coma, whatever, as well.
You can find Adam, RSBN Tonight. He's usually in front of the camera with a good-looking suit on, going over the latest news. And, it's funny because the thumbnail of the videos usually features a woman, but then it's him.
Yeah, she's better looking than I am. I mean, look,
she is an attractive lady.
And I told them, we're all trying to make revenue. We want to keep the company afloat. Just get me out of there and just put Liz in the picture. But they insisted on putting me in there as well.
Right. Well, maybe you guys can work together. I mean, you're sitting next to each other in the thumbnail, but I rarely see you guys hosting.
I'm just saying, for the thumbnail, I think we would all be better off if it were more Liz.
Just her. Right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That is a good point. And again, he covers.
Thanks for agreeing with me there. And by the way, with RSBN Tonight, we're evolving a few different things. It may turn into something that is just Liz. We will see. I think that actually would be the best thing. I am on camera. We're just working with a few shows, and there's only a few people who go on the air over there, and Steve Lookner is one of them too, and I've been doing that a lot, but I've been with the company the longest, so I've worn many hats, including being a cameraman during the Trump campaign, and I'm good at some things in life. Being a cameraman is not one of them. Basically, we shot for, Brad is an excellent cameraman, Martin's an excellent cameraman. I'm not. I was there basically to do the pregame shows and do double duty, and I was the only employee for a while, so I did cameraman work, but, we sort of wear different roles. For the news, I'm better at writing it than reading off a teleprompter. There are people who will be better at reading things I wrote than I will, and hopefully that will be Liz. But, I'm pretty good at ad-libbing, but I'm just not particularly good at reading the news. It's just something I am.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So you obviously, you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you have a fan base. Whenever you do your show, do you read the comments? Do you read what people are saying about you? Do you meticulously look at each and every bit of feedback and obsess over it? Or
it's funny, and maybe we can fix this. When the show goes on, it's in the chat room. I can't read that, except for the last few minutes, because there's so many people in there, you only get the last couple hundred of them. And when I've done the show the last few times, which was, I guess, a week and a half ago, a week ago, it was, at the end, I would do a segment with Steve Lookner, who does a variety of roles. He's a Hollywood guy, former Seinfeld and Saturday Night Live writer that we brought in. And, it was a segment featuring him. So I saw it for days, but all the commentary was on Steve. So I could never see what was being said about me, except for when it was in the comment section. And the comment section generally comes out about half hour to an hour afterward because we process the video. It's no longer live streaming, and this is beyond my pay grade. You know, we have good technical people, but they do this, not me. I'm just the bubble-headed beach blonde, as Don Henley would say in Dirty Laundry. You know that song. And bleached blonde. Bubble-headed bleach blonde. So I always saw the comments really about Steve because I was just sitting there nodding, maybe asking a question, keeping the discussion going. But I haven't even seen any comments about me for at least a week or every, you know, since whatever was the last time I was on there without Steve or Liz at the end, because there just weren't any. I mean, I guess if no one's saying you were horrible, you know, after you haven't even been on for 8 minutes, I guess that's a good thing. But I just didn't see a whole lot of comments. I do see it in the comments section, and I guess people tend to like me there. I mean, I saw a lot of comments when I was doing the pregame show. Some people don't like me. I mean, I guess maybe the Northeast accent. I can interrupt a lot. I can have a little bit of an obnoxious personality, which I'm very conscious of. I often would cut people off because they were boring and just as quickly as possible move to someone who would seem interesting in the pregame show, and that rubs people the wrong way sometimes.
Wow.
Say, hey, you know.
No, let me say this.
People,
I think if you guys ended up taking callers, you would be the most entertaining guy to take callers from, because if somebody was boring you or going off on a tangent, you just cut them. All right, next.
By the way, and I just want to make clear, I'm aware of the difference between being on the radio or being on YouTube TV now. I got to adjust to saying that because my background is more in radio. And interacting with people in real life. I'm a good listener in real life, which is not what we're doing right now. I'm consciously trying to make it as interesting as possible for your listeners. But my primary responsibility when I am on the air is not to kiss the butt of whoever I'm talking to so that they can say I was on for 4 minutes. My primary responsibility, and this is something we can get into later, because I have some real problems with the way the internet and a lot of people hosting on there are related to just contempt for your audience, seeing them as mere clicks. But I have to make the best program possible. You know, I'm not there to make friends. I'm not there to pick up girls. I'm there to have the best program possible. And while I often am very flippant and lighthearted on there, I take that very seriously. And if I'm boring, you know, I'd rather have someone not like me and keep watching than just bore people and have them turn me off and forget who I was.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
one thing I would say, my role model spin.
Go ahead.
I got to add one thing.
Sure.
Howard Stern, a lot of people don't like him. He's always interesting and engaging. And a guy named Angelo Cataldi, who's the host of the morning show on 94 WIP Sports Radio in Philadelphia. Very good, but a lot of people don't like him. He rubs them the wrong way. But he's interesting. You can't turn him off, or I can't a lot of the time, because he engages you, and that's more important. Now, with someone you actually know, I think there's a different standard. You want someone who's a good listener, who's caring, and who's polite. And that's a good dinner guest. That's another thing. But it's a totally different thing. I'm never going to meet most of the people who are listening to me. My only role in their life, so people in chat rooms, whatever, people who, you know the song Turn It On Again by Genesis, people who confuse watching TV with having a life. And there's something very ironic about that song I just want to add. You know something? Do you follow sports at all?
I'm a hockey fan and a casual NFL fan.
Okay, do you know old progressive rock or music from the 80s, whatever?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. You know, I think this was the 70s song. Do you know the song Turn It On Again by Genesis? Okay. How ironic is it? And I haven't been to an Eagles game for a few years, and I think I was in the bathroom 3 years ago when the second half started. So I don't know if they currently do this. But they open up the first half with, I think right before the kickoff, they do the theme from Rocky, which is another issue altogether, because Rocky loses in Rocky 1, if people forget that, and the Eagles have never won a Super Bowl. And then they play Eye of the Tiger when they're kicking off the ball. So, okay, that's good. It makes sense, regardless of how you feel about the Rocky movie. I'm happy to talk about that. But in the second half, the song they used to at least play was Turn It On Again by Genesis. And that's so wrong. You know why? What is that song about? All I need is a TV show, that, and the radio. The song is about get off your butt, get off the couch, and get a freaking life. And by the way, I hope I don't lose viewers. Take my suggestion here. But, you know, I'll lose viewers if they're out playing with their kids instead. I don't care. Yeah, it's like Get a Life. And who is that song directed to? It's people who think, who say, oh, if the Eagles win, they say, oh, we won today. They may not say we lost if they lost, but the whole point of the song is Get a Life. Don't be a spectator. Yeah, they're playing it at a spectator sports team, right? So I always thought that was very ironic. But the Eagles do a lot of stupid stuff, and that's why they came in last place this year and may not be going anywhere. And Dallas may be good for the next 10
I'm not
years.
sure if the song is the reason for that, but obviously,
Oh, no, it's not.
Who knows, right?
Players don't rap. Most of the players listen to hip-hop and rap. And
Right.
I talked to a former player named Freddie Mitchell, who I'm friendly with. And he didn't even know anything. He didn't even, you're focused on the game if you're a player. They don't care. But it's just very ironic.
So one thing I would add to RSBN tonight, if I was in charge, is a cool intro. It seems like most of the shows start off with kind of someone awkwardly staring into the camera.
Yeah, I mean, look, RSBN is working on a lot of technical details right now. There are things, as you've seen from the other show, there are some good intros. They're fun. It's basically Jacob Seals composing the music. That's Joe Seals, the founder's brother.
Can I say something real quick? I love American Dreamer, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, but that song was my song during the election cycle.
Yeah, a lot of people's song. Jacob Seals is very talented and from a talented family. Joe and Jacob's father is a prominent guitarist in country music. He retired from the band Shenandoah, you may have heard of. So it runs in the family. But yeah, that's an excellent song, which is why it was so popular. I mean, usually songs are popular because they're good.
Absolutely. So what's the most
However, I mean, I would say the music also has to be apropos. I don't know about the music for Raised Right. I think it's a good song. I don't think it really fits the whole Cassie and Will thing. That's my opinion. They didn't ask me, but it's good music, but it just isn't really the tone of the show. Now, some music is great for the show. For example, even if it's an instrumental, like the theme to Sanford and Son by Quincy Jones, outstanding. And it really sets the tone without having a single word for the Red Fox character and even sort of the more straight-laced Lamont character. I don't know if you watched Sanford and Son, but I love that show. Red Fox was a comic genius. And I don't know what the music would be for RSBN tonight. Do you sort of go over the top with like typical news music, which is this full Wagnerian thing and too dramatic, and it's almost like a joke among yourself? But then I got to say, I hate wasting people's time. I know that's the problem. I know we at RSBN do that too, but you really owe your show. Every second should be good. And when you play a 30-minute theme song, you're wasting 30-second theme song, you're wasting 30 seconds of people's time. So maybe, I don't know, if it were up to me, 5-10 seconds at the beginning, like at the beginning of Seinfeld, where I think it's only like 7 seconds long, just a guitar riff. That would be my preference, but they didn't ask me.
Well, like I said at the top, the network is evolving to offer more original content. You got the Wayne Dupree show, RSBN Tonight. Steve Lookner has his show, Look Real News. Yeah. And by the way, he's very good at him. But you should lend him your suit.
Forever. He's a friend of mine from college.
But you should lend him your suit. That's the one advice I would give you.
I think they look pretty big on him. Steve does not have the issue
He's a little
I have
bit smaller
with
than you.
probably it being a good idea to lose 10 pounds.
Here's the thing though. If you were in charge, right, of RSBN, you became the chairman for one day, what would be the next big step you would take RSBN for it to grow?
If I were the chairman,
what would you do? You were in charge.
Running things, and I were the chairman of the board, which also means I'm in charge of my investment in there. Looking out for the shareholders.
Other than give yourself a raise.
Would be fire me as the person who makes the decision. That's not what I'm good at. I like to think I'm good at on-air talent and especially good at writing and even better at editing. Those are my strengths. However, you're asking me a rhetorical question here. What would be better? I mean, these things take time. We are in a situation where we got a lot of subscribers because Joe Seals, in particular, did something no one else did. He made sure he did something no one in the media did. He realized that Trump was not a Mitt Romney or John McCain, George Bush giving the same speech. Every Trump speech was an event. You realize this, I guess, in July 2015. Did it start in June, July? No, it was in June 2015. And I guess it evolved a little bit. He has the skills. He has a good background with particular aspects of the media or the online media, which are applicable to this. So he And in a lot of times, life, what it does say, it's 90% perspiration, 10% inspiration. He systematically showed getting feeds from elsewhere, which evolved to having cameramen, usually me at first, then Brad and Martin as well, starting in July 2016. He made sure all the feeds were available for every Trump speech from start to finish. Why? I mean, you can't necessarily expect CNN and Fox to show them all because they have other programming they need to show. They're out there to make money, but he made sure it happened. And then, of course, people started copying RSPN. They're allowed to, but we were the ones that Drudge Report and so many Mediaite linked to. And so the views came. I mean, it was just simply being there and doing it well, having a good graphics package and knowing that it could be counted on. So he did that. So the money came from that. And so it raised the question once Trump got elected. I mean, it would have been a really tough question if Trump didn't get elected. What next? Because a president does not give speeches like that, rallies that are events all that often. Trump may do something of the sort, but, and that would be a continuation of the same, but things are going to change a little bit. So, and there also is the ambition. Things get, even if you're making money, it gets a little boring. And even if Trump is giving a lot of speeches, they're going to be a different variety. He can't be the same as president.
You're going to need original content.
Although Barack Obama really just never changed from campaigning. He did the same old garbage all the time. But I don't think Trump is going to do that. He takes presidency seriously. It's a different role, different kinds of speeches.
Right.
So,
yeah. You're going to need.
Trying to say something.
No, I was just saying you're going to need more original content, which I'm starting to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's an evolution, though. You have to see what people are good at. I'm of the belief you can figure out if someone's good or not. And that's true of people on our network, too, immediately. I told Joe he has to hire Steve Lookner. He's easy to work with, a great people person, first of all. So I knew he'd fit in the office. He'd fit in every office. I wouldn't say that for myself. I could be a pain in the ass. But I knew he'd be good, and he would add value. He had some background on there, on air. He's done some shows. His main role has been behind the scenes, but he hosted a video game show years ago. And I knew he would fit in well, and I knew he has a good mind. Because the most important thing, when you're on the air and not having a huge writing staff, is to be smart and very quick on your feet, adjusting to callers, adjusting to people who tweet. He integrates it better than anyone I know, including myself. So how did I get started on him again? Remind me what the original question was.
Well, I mean, I was just talking about how, first of all, Steve Lookner needs to start borrowing your suits, but then you said that they would be too big on him, and so my advice was
useless. Them. Those were expensive gifts for my ex-wife. You better not tell it, because, I mean, and he eats only like carrots and cucumbers, so I don't know how he's going to gain the weight that I have if he keeps that strict diet.
You got to take him out to some burger joints on the road.
I don't go to burger joints, especially because I keep kosher, but I don't do that. But I do eat more caloric stuff than he does, even if it's vegan.
Adam, don't you think that RSBN is going to take advantage of this new found dishonesty that people have in the corporate media? That's your window to grow and to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because people are turning off CNN and MSNBC in droves.
I don't know if they're losing audience that quickly, other than just what would be expected after an election cycle. And I think Fox News may be losing people more. No one's losing people as quickly as ESPN, by the way. And that's another matter altogether. Look, it all depends on the product. So we're going to have a certain number of loyal people who like our coverage of Trump rally. Hopefully, we will be at the White House for as many events as possible. We'll see if that actually occurs, but that's certainly the goal. That's certainly what RSPN has been led to believe. And that's built in. Now, we have a staff now. It was, for a while, just full-time Joe and me and a number of part-time people. But we'll see. We are committed to developing original programming. Can I say unequivocally that it's going to be good? No, you never know that. You never know that with any show, even at the big boys, or in NBC's case, the big gender neutrals. Can I tell people to watch every single thing on RSBN? Well, especially now, because we're in a trial phase. We're just finding our wings, so to speak. But I know. I mean, hopefully it'll be high-quality programming. Ultimately, that's the only thing that will keep people watching, and that's the only thing that should keep people watching.
But it is important.
So we'll
it is important.
But I don't
think.
know if I agree with you totally about the honesty, because I don't buy all the cliches that are thrown around. I try to do my homework and look at what's actually said. You're talking about Jim Acosta. No, I think he's a good journalist, is my opinion, and I know him a little bit.
Right. I don't know his work too well, so I can't really challenge you on that. But what I will say is, in my opinion,
well, I will say something on Jim Acosta, though. He's a very good journalist, and I didn't think he's a liberal from my conversations with him when I was on the campaign trail.
He's a conservative?
The problem isn't Jim Acosta asking tough questions to Trump. The problem is that there's no one like Jim Acosta asking Jim Acosta-like questions to the Obamas and the Clintons. That's the problem. Not the first. I like the vigorous media.
Okay, when Trump and Acosta had that confrontation, Acosta knew, okay, he wasn't going to get his question in. Why didn't he just shut up?
Because, haven't you ever watched Sam Donaldson? These guys are aggressive. And first of all, he's in the front row. He's there, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. CNN, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, and CBS, and I pronounced that correctly, SCE, and that's space B.S. Are in the prominent location. Now, at RSBN, for a while during the rallies, for most of them, we got in that front row, too. And they treated us very well because they loved what we were doing. But they do get priority at these conferences. So for Jim Acosta to do that from CNN was a little bit not that, it's not as if someone from an internet website, or even, say, the Philadelphia Inquirer, or even the Los Angeles Times had done it. They get a priority, and that's the way it works at these conferences. Those guys do. And the other problem I had with it, I'm a Trump guy, is the way he said, you're fake news, you don't get to answer questions. The problem I had with that is, so what the hell are they doing in the press conference if you knew ahead that they're fake news? Man up, kick them out completely, or you can't say that. Did he necessarily have to ask Acosta a question? But he was talking about CNN. I think Trump handled it very well, but he put himself in a position where how can you now allow CNN even in the White House press conferences at all if you refer to them as fake news? And I really mean that, because it's now going to look weak if he backs down on that, just like it seems like he's backing down on the embassy in Jerusalem.
Right. Yeah, that is a good point. But I was going to say earlier is it is important, even if some of these independent media outlets aren't perfect. Like you said, RSBN right now is just trying to find its way, find its niche, get going with some of this original programming. But when I look at what you guys are doing, and I look at the fact that you are independent, you don't have the corporate sponsors, you're not controlled by anyone, it's raw, unfiltered conservatism, that's important that for people to support your organization because of the fact that there is an active disinformation campaign on Donald Trump right now.
The point is, I think I'm making is print media is a lot easier to do than TV media. You don't know how much work went into what we're doing and what we're trying to do.
I can't even imagine.
CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox News, etc., have big advantages. They pay. Yeah, I appreciate it that they put journalists in harm's way. Like in places, they have journalists who've been killed, who have the risk of being kidnapped by Muslim terrorists and being beheaded. And I'm not going to be so arrogant. It's sake of me to say, anyone can write an article. Like I call it neo-plagiarism. When you write an article as if you're there and you're basically borrowing 90% of it, saying, according to ABC News, after you've written a catchy headline, which may or not be accurate, and you write a paragraph which is very opinionated, which is clickbaity, and then you copy someone else's stuff. I am aware that the big news organizations are putting people in the hotels in, say, Turkey, and they're covering it. I mean, Turkey's not as violent. I don't think you have the risk, but you know what I mean. In Iraq, I'm not going to pretend we have a correspondent in these places, and I am going to give credit to them. Because, frankly, you and I know that if there were an earthquake somewhere in the world, CNN might have coverage of it that even RSBN would not. So, I mean, I just
sure, but it is your job. Even if you don't have correspondents in those regions, wouldn't you agree that it is the job of the independent media to filter out the leftist bias that you get from your ABCs and your CNNs of the world?
Yeah, but I'm not going to pretend we don't have a bias either. I'm totally biased.
Oh, for sure. You wear your bias on your sleeve, though. You don't brand yourself as totally objective. They do.
Well, but I don't know if they brand them. LGBT does. I think admit their bias. Fox News calls itself fair and balanced, and frankly, they are a little bit in the middle these days. They continue to employ Shepard Smith, and he's certainly done some pretty egregious stuff. And then they had the me and Kelly thing, and they definitely swing left, even though they're the best source that is a complete operation of any the news networks. But it's not like there aren't good people at MSNBC, CNN, ABC, and Fox.
Are you going over a bridge or something?
No, I had the windshield wipers on.
Oh, it's the windshield wipers. It sounded like there was a giant frog in your car or something like that. But anyway,
no, the windshield wipers got pretty loud. I think because the rain stopped briefly.
All right.
But I don't think are there even any rivers in Illinois not on the border? I don't remember.
Just making sure you're not about to be eaten by some sort of creature on the air here. But go ahead.
Nah, I think the creatures would have been frozen to death in the water if I fell in there by now.
It'd make good radio if I caught that on the air.
Fish are still in there. You don't want to edit that out, of course. There's ice fish.
Hey, what do you make of Tucker Carlson taking over for Megyn Kelly?
I enjoy him, but I think he's getting a little cheesy with the having college people on all the time. Come on, man. I have more respect for people there are intelligent Democrats and liberals out there, but if you get some 19-year-old on there with a big mouth who's dying for the publicity and you make the grimaces and faces all the time, I know what you're up to. It's like taking batting practice against a pitcher who's never going to make it out of the college level. It's, try doing that off Corey Kluber, and then I'll be impressed. That's the Indian star pitcher. And then it's an easy thing that goes viral the next day. I just think that shtick is going to wear old pretty soon. He's very good. He's a good journalist. What's the nickname Rush Limbaugh has for him? It's something making fun of a white guy from the 50s in a bow tie, but I'm just blanking on it right now. In Philadelphia, we would call it Baxter Longstreth, who's an old city politician who was like the only Republican prominent in Philadelphia for a long time.
You have to give Tucker Carlson credit, though, for at the very least getting people on who disagree with him and putting a debate on the air. That's great TV.
Yeah, but he's getting people who disagree with him who are at a competitive disadvantage. What, you don't think Rachel Maddow could pull some college Republican out there and beat the crap out of him? I mean, look.
You know what? I honestly, if it's Mr. Maddow against a college Republican, I would probably bet on the college Republican.
Oh, please. I mean,
it's Mr. Maddow.
Mr. Maddow does have a name. Mr. Maddow, I get it. By the way, I'll tell you something interesting. So Mr. Maddow is John Stewart Leibowitz. Have you ever noticed how similar those two look?
Yes.
You want something shocking about Rachel Maddow, who, by the way, does not look that, she has a short haircut, but she does not look that unfeminine. She's a lesbian, and she goes with that look, but Ellen really looks butch. I don't think Rachel, and you want something shocking? Google Rachel Maddow high school yearbook. You'll be a little shocked by the picture. Why? She's pretty cute in high school. I mean, that was before she lezzed out.
Right, but that's until she chopped all her hair off. Now she looks like a 12-year-old boy.
I think she'd be flattered that she looks that. I don't know how vain she is in that, having the lifestyle she does, but I don't think she looks that young. She looks relatively young, has pretty good skin, but a 12-year-old may be pushing it. But
no,
hey,
what I'm saying is she looks like she has a boy haircut.
She's not inherently bad looking. That's the point I'm trying to make about Rachel Maddow. She just doesn't really try to achieve what's her name? Who's the new voice of the millennials? Tammy Lauren, who's thinking fast. She doesn't try to go to the big silent. Tommy Lauren does.
Well, maybe you can convert Maddow. Who knows? I'll tell you this though. She'd take one look at you, and maybe she will be converted.
And she's already Jewish. I don't need to convert her.
Ah, nice. You mentioned You mentioned Tammy Lauren. I didn't even know that. You mentioned Tammy Lauren. You know what my issue is with her?
Wait. Let's get it right. Is it Tommy or Tammy? It's Tommy,
it's actually Tommy. It's actually Tommy. Tommy Lauren. My problem with her is she needs to stop relying on the prompter. She was kind of exposed on the Trevor Noah show without the prompter as not being too witty and not being able to navigate without it. Do you agree with that?
Well, I mean, I think you're dealing with the symptoms rather than the problem there. I think let's have a honest conversation. Do you really think Tommy Lauren is there because she does what you do. I mean, frankly, you're quicker than she is. And this is a podcast. I'm quicker than she is. I'm on RSPN. Why do you think she's in the position she's in? And I'm not implying that she slept her way to the top, by the way. But why do you think she's there? Come on. Come on,
I think
man.
the point can be made that she's an attractive young woman with blonde hair, and she's a conservative, and so somebody saw money in that.
Yeah, but, I mean, remember, we have attractive young women, or not, I guess not young anymore, middle-aged, Nan Coulter and Laura Ingraham's case, who are very good, and it's almost insulting to lump them in the same category. She's not that good. She doesn't even, when she's reading the teleprompter, she doesn't even moderate her tone with the voice to make certain things seem more dramatic than others. It's a shtick, and it's tiresome, frankly. And, you know, I understand. And she goes, okay. And you know what? I am going to talk about it. She's there to have the look of one of Elliot Spitzer's expensive call girls. And, you know, she might be able to, with her look, you know, she would be in the same league, not the hottest one of them, not the worst looking of them, but she could pass for an expensive call girl. And I will say that because of what she chose to wear on Trevor Noah. That thing, she was exposed, and I think it will permanently hurt her. I mean, Trevor Noah ain't that great. He's not funny at all, but he's reasonably intelligent. And he destroyed her. He absolutely destroyed her and exposed her. And it probably wasn't a good idea for her to go on. And
well, you know what? I give her credit for stepping into the lion's den, I think, as she said, and going on to a leftist TV show like that, where she knew she wasn't going to get the applause, she wasn't going to get the laughter.
It wasn't that. It wasn't that. He destroyed her.
I'm going to be a little.
He couldn't answer the question. He couldn't answer the question. What should a black person who wants to register
you're right about that.
do? He asked it 5 times. She wouldn't answer. And you and I both know that when we hate it, when Democrats won't answer the question, when they go on a Sunday news show, and they're better at it. I mean, she looked, and you know what? What she chose to wear made it look stupid. She wore a very low-cut thing, and I am going to talk about I'm going to evaluate what a girl's body looks like if she chooses to show it to me on TV. She chose to wear that. She put on jewelry which was there basically to call even more attention to her breasts. And she's not even like, she doesn't have what Meghan McCain has.
Meghan McCain?
If you know what I mean. Meghan McCain doesn't have what she has in the face either, but you know exactly what I mean, because they're hanging out there the whole time on Outnumbered on Fox. But yeah, she got exposed. And the thing with the Twitter, you saw the news about her in the last 24 hours too, like that she deleted her Twitter feed, but some people had already mirrored it. That was the story that came out last night. I mean, it's just embarrassing almost that people say, well, she's the voice of a generation. Now, that's not my generation. I'm old. I'm 45. But that when you stick people there and say, oh, it's a conservative. First of all, girls are girls. Girls hate girls who, for no good reason, other than their looks, who look like Tommy Lauren, especially if the girls are starting to age. And once they start hitting 33, they hate 24-year-olds like Tommy Lauren. I'm not taking that away from her. But being told she is the voice of the generation, like the females in particular, I would prefer a woman who looks like Lena Dunham, you know, because they hate pretty girls.
Wait a minute. Lena Dunham?
I'm saying the girls often will gravitate in terms of, because they're
I get what you're
jealous
saying.
of pretty girls. Lena Dunham doesn't have that problem, that's for sure.
Okay, all right. Because I was about ready to end the interview. Okay, fantastic. Well, I think you make a decent point there. You know what? She didn't answer that question, and that was one of the reasons why I felt like her performance was lacking. But again, you have to be able to operate without the prompter, and I feel like she had these set talking points that she memorized before that Trevor Noah interview, and then when she went on the set, she just couldn't figure out what to say. So anyway, we're being too hard on her. Look, I'm probably going to lose half my audience now because people like her. But.
Why? No. They may hate me. They may hate you for this, but that's the reality. I mean, I think the issue is her losing her half her audience relatively soon. I mean, it's just a flavor of the month. And, yeah, we like her if we're watching a game and we're at Hooters and she's our waitress, but let's not pretend. It insults people's intelligence to make it seem like she's worth hearing, like as if she's some Charles Proudheimer. I know too many people in their young 20s, yourself included, who are just better at this, and I do not need I listen more than look. I do not need to get my information from someone who just simply is the age and has the look that men across the world of all ages prefer to have sex with. That's all that is. And by the way, she's very made up well. She's her hair is great, and she excellent makeup and that. But I don't think she's going to be a 9 or 10 by the time she's 30. Just for the record. I mean, I looked at her. I know beautiful women. She's very good looking, striking looking. But I looked at the face. I looked at the facial structure. She's not a 10. And something else that pissed me off about her. I may be wrong, and I will correct myself if it's. I heard her say she works for Glenn Beck now, which is in Dallas. And I heard something that was very phony. We talked about the Philadelphia Eagles before. She talks about how she's such a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. And she's from South Dakota. I think she grew up in a military family, and she went to college in Las Vegas. I looked this up, UNLV. Why? And the Dallas Cowboys have won, I think, maybe one playoff game in the last 20 years. Now, I understand when I was a kid in the late 70s, why they gravitated toward the Cowboys and the Steelers. They were America's team, and the Steelers were the team that were offered to be called America's team and turned it down. But the Cowboys haven't even been that good the last 20 years. Is she just making this up? Because I really don't like people who move to an area and act like they're diehard sports fans of that team. You know, give credit to Mayor Bloomberg, by the way, for saying he was a Boston Red Sox fan when he was in New York, right?
Yeah, that's honesty right there. We know Hillary Clinton was the fan of whatever sports team that she was, whatever city's corresponding sports team that she was getting interviewed in.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
So
that
you can tell
weird.
That's total pandering right there.
She didn't care, and she didn't care about sports. You knew that.
Right.
I mean, actually, I may have to give her credit because I imagine she didn't give a crap about sports when she was young, and she doesn't give a crap now. So it's a lot easier for someone who may have been the most lukewarm Chicago Cubs fan to become the most lukewarm New York Yankees fan, which is all she pretended to be, than for me to suddenly start rooting for the Washington Redskins when I've always been a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And by the way, on the subject of football, she botched the Colin Kaepernick thing, too. I mean, that was terrible, the way she handled that. I mean, you can't boycott the NFL if you were mad about Colin Kaepernick. You know why, right?
No, you go ahead and make that point.
Well, three things. Colin Kaepernick, okay, he was loud, and I think Trevor Noah, first of all, does have a point with the national anthem. He was just annoying about it, but he does have the right to protest. I have the right not to like him, to boo him, whatever. But you know what happened in the last month or two? Basically, okay, you're boycott NFL because of Colin Kaepernick. First of all, how many players supported him in the first place? Very few. They were the ones on the camera. They showed them. But very few. We're talking like 20 players in the whole league maybe supported him, and we're talking 99% of the players probably didn't do anything with the national anthem, and it wasn't even a choice. They never thought about whether to stand for the national anthem until this year. And then this year, 99% of them chose to, and I'm talking 98% of the black players too, probably. They chose to. They said, okay, I have a decision to make now, which I never would have made before. Do I stand for the national anthem? And they did. And then, worse than that, you had the situation where Kaepernick admitted he didn't vote. What? I mean, he admitted he didn't vote. And, that's very typical of black America this year because they did not come out in the numbers for Hillary, and that was much to the benefit of Trump. Hey, I appreciate that. And then he goes to Miami. The 49ers are playing the Dolphins. He goes to Miami. There's a press conference there. It's in Miami. He wears a Fidel Castro T-shirt. How offensive is that, you know? And
a murderous dictator.
But he got it 3 days later. Talk about bad karma. How can you really be mad at Colin Kaepernick as opposed to thinking the guy's a joke worth watching? And then his team goes 2-14 this year, second worst team in football. And this is actually his performance was better than last year's MVP, Cam Newton. If you look at the quarterback rating, better than the hot rookie for Philadelphia, Carson Wentz. He wasn't even that awful, and his team yet went 2-14. The guy was such a loser. He's probably never going to get another NFL job. But how can you be mad at the NFL about that? That's all I'm saying.
I think it's a good point. But to me, wearing the Fidel Castro deal is a lot worse than the kneeling situation. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a murderous dictator. He jailed political dissidents and all the rest of it.
But he wore it on a Tuesday. This ancient guy who's been dictator of a country longer than anyone on the planet, probably close to longer than anyone ever, died 3 days after he did it. I can't even worry about him wearing the shirt in the first place. If he did that, and then I know correlation is not causation, but it's so funny that he did that, and then Castro died 3 days after Kaepernick endorsed him. It reminds me of the time, you remember in the 2010 season, The Eagles finally got rid of Donovan McNabb, who I can't stand, brought in a guy named Kevin Cobb. He got hurt early in the year, so they had to bring in Michael Vick, who was only a year removed from prison. And he was awesome. He was the MVP of the league, basically, along with Tom Brady, for the first 11, 12 weeks of the season. It's phenomenal, especially in that Monday night game against Washington. But then Barack Obama, the Eagles had a strange situation where they played on a Tuesday night because of a snowstorm that didn't even really happen. Barack Obama started praising him. He was never great or even that good anymore. That very next game, he was mediocre the rest of the season. Yeah, I know he's not a good cold water quarterback and has small hands for a NFL quarterback, but he wasn't that good. The rest of the season, the Eagles fell out in the first round of the playoffs, and then he was never that good, anything more than mediocre again the rest of his career. He was a mensch. I mean, he turned into a good person, but it was never he was a good person at the beginning of the year, too. But, I mean, it just reminds me, just bad karma every time. And, by the way, last year, I know LeBron's a Democrat and all, but Stephon Curry started hanging out with Obama a little bit, I think, around the NBA playoffs. They were the best team in basketball last year, but they lost to Cleveland in the final. The guy's bad news. And Colin Kaepernick took it a step further with not necessarily causing, but being correlated with
Well, I'm just sick of these celebrities politicizing everything and thinking that people care, right? I mean, you have all these Hollywood elites with their lavish mansions and their big walls telling us we can't have walls, telling us we can't have guns, even though they have armed guards surrounding them at all times and an armed entourage wherever they go. It's pure hypocrisy. It's an elitist mentality, and it makes me sick.
Yeah, that's true. But keep in mind that Kaepernick was being passive. I mean, he simply sat down for the national anthem as opposed to being in a TV show praising Obama. Or
yeah,
or
it's
even
completely different. I agree with you on that. I mean, you look at Meryl Streep, it's a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Meryl Streep is worse than Kaepernick, except we've come to a point where the backlash is so much better, so much more convincing than whatever they're trying to accomplish. I'm not sure Meryl Streep changed any minds out there, but it just made people hate Hollywood that much more. And frankly, it's a little bit selfish for someone like Meryl Streep to do that because she is going to hurt Hollywood that much more. It will hurt all the young actors and actresses in the industry if people say, to hell with watching the movies. She's at the end of her career. She has plenty of money. You know, she's not in great roles anymore. It sort of helps destroy the interview. I guess Colin Kaepernick would be in the middle of his career, realistically. But, yeah, it was just so inane. It was so inane. I mean, I don't even know the point she was trying to make. I mean, if you're going to call out Trump and get that much backlash, you'd really call him out. She didn't even really go that far with it.
Right.
It was just stupid.
Well, Adam, is there anything else on your radar you want to get to before we go ahead and wrap it up?
At Adam_Taxin, and it's RSBN TV or at RSD Network. Technically, I'm off these weeks. I am this week. I have been off. I'm an independent contractor, but yeah, I mean, I'm here because of RSBN. Let's not kid ourselves. So yeah, there you go. And you can follow me on Facebook too.
I have class. That's the only reason why.
Oh wait, you're in.
I took a year
your class.
off.
That's more than Meryl Streep. So why do we have to get off the phone just because you're a classy guy? Did I say something unclassy?
Good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Wait, what are you taking? I haven't even interviewed you at all. What? Where are you in school? And
what the other way around. Journalism.
Okay.
So that's
what
my
are you going to do
major.
to make a living, though? I'm just kidding.
I like that.
Major.
I like
Where
that.
are you in school? Are you at UNF?
Yeah. You should come by sometime.
I mean, I'm by there all the time. I love Chabad at Chabad at the beaches in Ponte Vedra Beach, and I'm there in Ormond Beach a lot. I've only been on the UNF campus. Man, I'm going to bring up the Eagles for a third time, and they're not even in the postseason. But I did go to, I think, a fight night there they had before the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, I guess, 12 years ago, which the Eagles were in. It's easy to remember, keep track of the Eagles Super Bowls because they've only been two, and they lost them. But I have been on the UNF campus. I passed it many times on, is it Butler Boulevard or 295? The exit is off.
Butler.
Yeah, and I know someone reasonably well who's prominent in journalism there. She's a real winner, Hanalei Ali. Do you know her?
I have never met her, but you know what? Maybe we can make that connection.
She has a good position on the paper next year when she's only going to be a sophomore. She's very smart. I'm very impressed by her. But yeah, that's someone you want to look up. She has conservative views. I guess there's so many conservatives in journalism there that you don't even all know each other. That's a good sign.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it.
I like that in the college campus.
The
Usually the two
academia is not like... Go ahead.
Yeah, usually the two conservatives on the campus know each other so well that they're probably sick of each other by sophomore year. But you don't even know Hanalea.
Yeah, that's true. But I'll have to make that connection for sure. There's no doubt about that. But
well, I will say journalism is a tough field to make it in, and I hope you have a backup plan. But you're very good at this, and you have a good voice, which can't be taught. And you do your homework, and I think you can at least embody the very best in the profession. Hey, we may have to try to hire you for RSBN.
I'd love
we'll talk about that. Yeah, get your transfer application to Auburn, though I'm not the one. I'm not the one who makes these decisions. Frankly, I think you'd be a lot better than Will. Oh, he's a disaster. But he's on. Well, he was talking about Ayn Rand on the air several times. Like, he's a big fan. Because it's Ayn Rand, dude. It reminds me of the time in Terrell Owens' book, his second book. Another time I'm giving an Eagles reference. I must feel withdrawal because they're not in the playoffs. But he referred to his good friends on the team, and actually in the book wrote Carell Burkhalter, except it was Carell Buckhalter. He had the guy's name wrong. And this was supposedly his good friend on the team. But, yeah, you can't do stuff like that. And it's sloppy. And I think Ray's right is a good idea, but it needs a lot of work. And, I say it like it is. And, no,
right.
You can't be saying Ayn Rand on the air. Oh, come on, man.
Well, like you said, RSBN still trying to find its footing right now, and there's a lot of different things you guys are experimenting with, original content, new shows. But Adam, I'm sure you're going to be a big part of that network going forward. Is there anything else you want to say?
If they pay me enough, they will. Hey,
maybe you'll end up being the big superstar that takes it to the next level.
I don't know. That's for the viewers to decide. In the meantime, they should really tune in to Liz Willis, who's going to be there next week. She's just joining the staff, and I think she has a lot of talent. She's out of Auburn. She's actually went to college in Auburn. Look, I'm not getting any younger, and I'm not going to be going the Milo way. I'm not even going to ever try to be pretty. I think she has a lot of potential, and you should tune into her. And I think Steve Buckner is a lot better at certain things related to on-air than I am. And I think I'm better at some than he is. I think that's the real in-studio talent. Obviously, Wayne Dupree does what he does. Dennis Michael Lynch does what he does. I think those are the potential stars of the network. I think there's too much work that needs to be done with Cassie and Will, being perfectly honest here. Pastor Mark Burns is good at what he does as well.
I love
especially
Pastor
related
Mark
to
Burns.
race. Yeah, it's only an hour a week, so that's another story. But hey, I'm going to give it my best, the responsibilities I take, and there is a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that needs to be done in terms of writing, editing, and production that I may well be more involved in the next few weeks than on camera, but we don't know. I mean, we're still figuring a lot of things out right now. And tune in. That's what I can tell you. And tune in especially. Who's going to be on the air before January 20th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Tune in. RSBN is going to have a whole lot of inauguration coverage. It may well start with some marathons of Trump speeches and even my pregame shows. It may start as early as today, which is the Friday beforehand. So hopefully it'll be up there by the time you go. But there's a lot of good stuff to see that you may have missed. And this is a week to celebrate all things Trump. And then a week from now, I think the healthier position is not to be cheerleaders for him because he is the president. We have to judge him on his performance. But we still have a week until that occurs, at least
Absolutely.
As of Friday when I am saying this. And you're a good interviewer, and I enjoy talking to you. I don't always expect to have the amount of time I do, and thank you for doing this so early in the morning when I'm driving. And by the way, the freezing rain hasn't started yet, and I'm not that far from St. Louis at this point, which is a good thing. But thank you for doing it. I would gladly talk to you more again, and don't rule out me at least pushing the idea of getting you some role at RSBN. You're very good at this. You got to snap up talent when you can. So,
well, I appreciate
it's a pleasure,
that.
Benjamin.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for coming on and doing the interview. While you're driving, please drive safe. I need you to stay alive for multiple reasons. But most of all, actually, so you can come back on.
At this point, you would get higher ratings and more clicks if something did happen to me right now. However, Mother Nature is doing its part and has been pretty tolerable so far, even though I got up so early because I expected the worst. So I do have 40 miles to go, and the bad weather is coming from the west. So who knows? Maybe famous last words. may take me 5-6 more hours to get there in very dangerous conditions. We shall see, but it's probably not of interest to your viewers outside the St. Louis area at this point. Good talking to you, Benjamin.
Right, good talking to you as well, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip. Like I said, drive safe. Of course, I would like the viral attention I would get if you did crash on the air, but
drive safely. Drive safely.
Oh my
if you're going
goodness.
into journalism, come on, let's get it right. And don't let me ever hear you say could care less when you mean couldn't care less. That gets on my nerves. And also, we can talk about the misuse of the word pervert another time. That's another one of my.
Well, I'm not guilty of saying could care less very much, but drive safe.
Let me ask you. I got to
versus
ask
drive
you a question
safely.
now.
I didn't know you cared so much about that, but go ahead.
Okay. No, I mean, I care. Express yourself. I'm not like that Andy Rooney interview with Ali G, which is one you should Google about the use of the English language. But,
right.
I know you're trying to make it in this business. Let's go with drive safely. And I don't think they use it as much, but I know it because I'm from there, Pennsylvania, where it was, you've got a friend in Pennsylvania. It was, you have a friend in Pennsylvania. So, let's not butcher the English language unless it's on purpose in an ironic way. That's all I'm saying. I got your back, man. I mean, I actually didn't know that. Man. I have your back, man.
Look at that.
But actually,
he corrects himself.
Well, no. Actually, I would get away with that one because it is an expression that is known one particular way, even though it's grammatically incorrect. It's got your back. And that was popularized by Tom Wolfe in the book, not Bonfire of Statue. It was the one about Atlanta, A Man in Full. It was Got Your Back. It was probably popular among blacks like 20 years ago already. And a lot of great expressions do come from the black community. And that's one of them.
No doubt about that. Well, thank you for those fun facts. And folks, that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting the Maverick podcast on WeTheVigilant.com. Adam, I appreciate you taking the time. And for those of you listening right now, I just want to say God bless you all. And remember to stay awake, stay aware, and stay vigilant.